know that your method of cooking your food may be the reason you have not achieved a calorie deficit? Surprise, right? The thing is, oftentimes people struggle to get into calorie deficit because they want to lose weight, and it has been proven that calorie deficit is the simple, the easiest, and the most important way to lose weight and fat. So everyone wants to get into a calorie deficit, but the problem is, even though you try, you take all the necessary precautions, your method of cooking this food may actually be a reason you are not getting what you want. Hello everyone, my name is Queen from Queen Army, and in this video I'm going to tell you how cooking can actually affect your calories, your caloric intake, how it's being affected by your method of cooking or even cooking it. And please remember to subscribe to my channel if you are new to this channel, seeing my face for the first time. If you are really seeing my face for the first time, you're really welcome. Remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell, just the bell by the side. That way you'll be able to receive notifications each time new videos comes up. And to my returning subscribers, thank you for coming by. And if you're here, I'm sure we really want to learn. So let's go to the topic of today. But before then, just ensure to subscribe. Thank you. On calorie deficit, I've made videos on calorie deficit, so you may just find it interesting. You just want to go through them. They are in the description below, and I'm going to leave all the necessary links you need, even the Instagram and Facebook. I actually help them fashion their food in the easiest way they want to lose weight. You know, weight loss is is not really as hard as we think, but then it's a little bit technical that you can imagine. When we're talking about cooking food, first of all, people want to track their calories. And tracking your calories means you have to weigh your food, you have to calculate, know the calorie content of each quantity. So if you want to take a chicken breast, like four ounces of chicken breast, you have to decide which one you are going to do, if you're going to weigh it raw or cooked. So if really it matters whether weighing it raw or cooked, if really is important, that means cooking can actually affect your food. And before I proceed, I just want to give you this tip. Most food, when you go to your apps, your calorie apps, or the food content, most of the calorie they give you is in the raw form or in the state of the food. For instance, if they give you rice, they may be talking about the raw rice. So the calorie content actually changes when you cook. So to the method of cooking, our method of cooking affects the calorie content of our food. We know we have different methods of cooking. We have boiling, steaming, we have roasting, and we have baking, frying, and all other methods you can think about. But the thing is, these methods may, apart from changing the composition and the compound and the complexity of this food, I mean changing its complexity, because actually when you cook food it changes. Apart from it, there are other methods that add more calorie to it. But before I go there, I'll have to tell you what happens when you cook your food. Normally, our body uses a certain amount of energy to digest food. I've made a video on how your body uses energy, and this includes even in digesting foods that you take in. So you can just check the description for this video. Normally, your body uses this energy to digest food, and when you actually cook food, it reduces the complexity of this food. It makes it simple, it breaks them into molecules, and it makes it very easy for your body and your system to absorb. This is also what happens when you take processed food. Processed foods are not usually complex, like when you take them in whole. So it means you can easily get them assimilated and digested. So let's take, for instance, sugar and honey. honey really has more calorie than sugar, but because honey is still raw, your body needs more energy to digest this honey than when you take a tablespoon of sugar, which is actually lesser in calorie than honey. Once you take this sugar, it gets straight into your system and it gets assimilated. Have you wondered why even the diabetic patients, when their blood glucose is low, you don't usually give them sugar to take. Instead, you advise them to take food high in sugar. This is because your body easily assimilates this sugar, and the energy used in digesting, when it comes to weight loss, the energy used in digesting it will be really reduced, making, in fact, your body may expand little or no energy trying to digest this sugar than when you take honey. That is why we have negative energy foods. But that is not the story for today. That is not what we want to talk about today. In general, what happens is when you cook your food, it gets broken down, it makes it very simple, and the more you cook it, the more you break them down, making it very easy for your body to digest and indirectly affecting the energy used in digesting food. Again, raw food actually contains water in them, and when you cook this food, they either get rid of this water or accumulate more fluid. So no wonder when you cook food, it kind of rises and it increases the weight and the density. So if you are counting your calories, the best time to measure your food is when you must have finished cooking it. Because if you weigh a cup of beans and then cook it and decide to finish a whole cup of beans, you may not be able to finish it, because if you agree with me, by the time you are done cooking it, it must have increased in size. That is the volatilization taking place and the increase in molecule and water and other compounds contained in this food. That is generally what happens when we cook food. I will also give you another instance. Meat is healthy, you know that. So when you get a chicken breast now and you cook it, cooking a chicken breast is about 130 something calories, but when cooked, it changes. And remember, sometimes when you're cooking, you add salt, you add pepper, you add your cubes, spices, and all these things also accumulate to the calorie content of this food. So if you want to steam your meat and you add a tablespoon of curry, a tablespoon of thyme, a tablespoon of basil leaf, at least these ones are natural, so they have little or no calorie content. But when you put some processed food, like I don't want to mention names, but you know what I'm talking about, your processed spices, your sachet spices, your bouillon cubes and co. When you add them into your food, they have a lot of calories, and most times you don't count them. I know you don't. So these are things we actually neglect, and then we are like, I'm eating 4 ounces of meat, but in the actual sense, okay, you are like, I'm eating 4 ounces of meat and 4 ounces of chicken breast is about 130 something, but in actual sense, you are eating up to 200 and something. And that is like almost 40 to 50% caloric value to this food. You understand it now. It also comes to the method of cooking this food proper. Steaming, boiling. I don't want to talk about the nutrition, because when we want to talk about how cooking affects the nutrients of the food, is entirely different. In fact, if we start pointing them, you may end up not cooking your food. But I don't want to talk about the nutritional content. I'm talking about the calorie, okay? So some methods like cooking, steaming, baking, sometimes these methods are actually okay, because when you steam, most times you just let the heat get to the food and it's okay. The same thing with baking, because baking even sometimes help extract oil from the food and water, liquid, and all those things. And the same thing with when you roast it, the thing is they actually require high heat, which destroys some nutrients. Like I said, we're not talking about nutrients. But these methods are actually good when we are talking about calorie deficit, when we are talking about the caloric content of food, because they add little or no extra ingredients to this food, except the ones you add. And if you really want to count your calories, you should count those spices. Okay. The worst of them all is frying. Frying is not just bad for your heart. I'm trying my best not to go into the details. If you want me to make video on the nutrients, the conditions and all those, I'm just gonna make a separate video for it. But it is not for this video. I'll try my best not to go into details. So when you fry food, apart from the change in the oil, even if you're using the healthy oil, I know some people will say, okay, healthy oil is good. Yes, but the thing is, the little amount of oil you're going to take actually contains very high calorie. Even if it's a tablespoon of olive oil, it has high calorie. Or coconut oil, they are known to be healthy, but they are high in calories. So if you're trying to lose weight, try as much as possible to avoid frying. This is what happens when you're trying to fry your meat. Remember the chicken breast I'm talking about. If you actually cook it, you may end up having 200 or something calories. But when you fry it, so depending on the quantity of oil you use, so let's say you use 2-3 tablespoons of oil, okay, and then you fry this meat in it. So you're going to not just calculate the ingredients you use, you're going to not just calculate the meat, you're also going to add oil, which is almost the same quantity as the meat itself. So you're eating ×2 of this calorie. So when trying to be on a calorie deficit, when trying to lose weight, try as much as possible to avoid frying. You can steam, you can bake, you can roast, but avoid frying, sauteing, and every method of cooking that involves using oil. Again, while cooking, reduce the quantity of oil used in cooking. It really goes a long way in helping you. I believe it really made sense today. Thank you for watching to this end, and please remember to subscribe, share, and like this video. It's really very easy to achieve all this calorie deficit. I know frying food may be very sweet and it makes food delicious, but then it really accumulates a lot of calories. And it's not just about using any oil, even your methods. Okay, for instance, if you want to make sandwich and it's going to involve spreads like butter and all those mayonnaise, that involve oil, just try to reduce them. That way you're going to really cut down on calories. Thank you for watching. Please see my description for more details and links, and also video on how your body uses energy and everything about calorie deficit.